Rimworld Anomaly is known as the absolute worst DLC, but why is that? Is it because it feels like the same experience every playthrough? Could it be because it's too overpriced? Or, let's be real, is it just a skill issue for the bad players? Well, I took it upon myself to play the Rimworld Anomaly DLC for the first time the right way, to finally answer the age-old question, is Rimworld Anomaly good? In order to do so, I played at 5 in the morning, with the lights off, with only one pair of underwear, during the scariest month possible, Black History Month. I have been notified that Black History Month is not the scariest month, so I'll be playing during the other scariest month possible, October. To start our story off, we come down plummeting from the atmosphere in a bunch of crash pods. Skadoosh goes the crash pods as they slam into the Earth's floor. These colonists were studying an ancient anomaly in the form of a monolith before their vessel was ripped apart and they had to escape through the pods. Only a few made it out alive, but sometimes death is better than the consequences of life. The ancient anomaly spread horrible mutations to some of the colonists before they could escape, transforming them into otherworldly beings. After their landing, out pop 4 colonists from the crash pods. The robotic doors open. The colonists consist of a bisexual drug addict named Steinbach, a tough masochist named Molly, an emo doctor named Doc, and lastly, one of the colonists who could not be saved from the horrible incident before they escaped, a ghastly ghoul named Grandpa Moses. Although they escaped the horrors of the monolith on their ship, it was clear there was still more work to be done. It was as if the monolith had followed them, emanating an aura that pulled the strings of the colony's curiosity. The monolith pulsed, and the sound drew them in. Wong, 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 wong. But the scientists knew that if they were to take on the monolith this time, they would need to be much more prepared for what's to come. So the first thing they did was start gathering all of their scattered supplies across the land and chop down enough trees in order to construct a small dwelling. In order to survive the cold, lonesome night, they extended out the comfort of an old room using their gathered wood and constructed beds for their fellow scientists. As our colonists slept in the warmth of their beds in the comfort of their home, Grandpa Moses the ghoul sat out freezing and starving. It seemed like the ghoul transformation had not only messed with his appearance, but it had also altered his brain. And soon, Grandpa Moses went on a schizophrenic rambling due to his transformation. You guys ever see those old men? You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You ever see the old men at diners? They're just saying the most fucked up shit. And you're like, oh my God. And then you talk to the waiter. You're like, dude, like, what the fuck's up with that guy? And they're like, oh, that's just Steve, dude. He comes in here every Saturday. He's always smacking me on the ass and telling me jolly good show. You know, that's just what he does. Like, he fought in the war. He's a good guy, trust. Oh, Steve, you want the, Steve, you said you want black coffee with a little bit of sugar? Oh, yeah, Steve, I know. You told me my tits look great like the 8th time this day. No, you can't have my number, Steve. I'm 15. All right, Steve, you have a great day. That's you guys, bro. You guys are the regular at my coffee shop right now. As Grandpa Moses seemed to grow with his schizophrenic rambles, it was clear that it was induced because he had not consumed enough meat in time. Apparently, if Grandpa did not consume enough raw meat, he would turn hostile, killing all those who looked like a tasty flesh meal. Due to his increased ghoul strength and regeneration, it would be very wise to keep Grandpa fed. As Grandpa was fed, a new day dawned. It seemed like the monolith was starting to stir, growing angrier and angrier with its lack of attention, like a demon-spawned child. The ground around it began to rumble, inflicting a negative mood debuff on our entire colony until we began to uncover its secrets. So we listened to the demands of the monolith. To prepare for what's to come, we constructed a room to keep strange creatures subdued in. And then we had Doc approach the terrifying monolith. The monolith's dark, metallic surface is warm to the touch, and Doc thinks he can hear a faint hum emanating from inside. The lines on the dusty surface seem to squirm in unsettling patterns. Doc focuses on the shapes, trying to uncover their meaning. The hum strengthens. The shapes began to flow into Doc's vision, but the surface is changing. Power begins to uncoil in an empty space all around, and a black shape is forming in his mind. After the monolith was uncovered, rumbling clouds rolled over and replaced the brightly lit sky with the dark gray ominous of the anomaly. As they did, we unlocked a codex that suggested there were many more entities to be uncovered, along with the ability to research several anomaly-related technologies. Doc became infatuated with the monolith, wanting to learn. No, needing to learn so much more, and dedicated his time studying it as much as possible. Not too long after, our first entity had appeared. It was a dormant tree that seemed to eat at the flesh of our fallen enemies. As it consumed flesh, the trees grew more and more, so there was only one thing to do. Feed the tree. 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 As if perfect timing, immediately after the tree spawned, some man-hunting pack of rabid rabbits began attacking us, hopping ferociously towards us as we readied our defenses. But Grandpa Moses was a war veteran. He had assisted in dropping the first bombs on the US Army, so fighting a bunch of rabid rabbits was a walk in the park for him. As Grandpa Moses began molly-whopping the rabbits, Molly began hauling their corpses to the tree. But as Molly attempted to reach the corpse, a sight stealer appeared out of thin air. Oh, a sight stealer? Oh, he's fast as shit. Oh shit, run you little ass! Run, Molly! Fucking run, Molly, come on! Don't let him bite your ass. The second he bites your ass, once he gets a little taste of it, he's never gonna let go. But Grandpa Moses was on his tail. It got in a good hit on Molly before Grandpa Moses came to the rescue and started wailing on the sight stealer. As it was distracted, Molly turned around and got a good shot in on the sight stealer. It screeched in pain. Ow, you hit me! With Grandpa's superhuman combat abilities and Molly's good aim, they were easily able to put down the first entity attack. After Grandpa got a good bite on the sight stealer, it was time to feed the tree. Its roots wrapped around all the corpses around it, and soon the tree began to feed on its enemies, pumping blood into its hard, gnarled shaft, growing in size with every delectable bite. Speaking of growing in shafts, that brings us to today's sponsor. No, I'm just joking, guys. I don't have any sponsors.
I read about did you say want to a 10-year-old with Down syndrome
But it would be great if you could help me grow something else that is difficult to increase in size, my channel. Believe it or not, you can do so by just liking the video, and that helps get the channel up more than you know. Anyways, back to the tree. Feed the tree. Feed the tree. Feed the tree. As the trees grew, so did our colony. We now had a steady supply of rice, a research room to study any non-related anomaly technologies, and an official holding room for any entities we could capture and steal information from. But as our colony grew, so did our wealth. And soon, even with the world being in a state of panic and despair, we still had other humans looking to harm us. Why are normal fucking gooners attacking me right now? This really just shows you how the world is, bro. We're currently living in a time where fucking ghouls and shit are like turning the sky black and trying to kill us. But we still got normal ass people who want to make it their job to come and attack me. That's so ridiculous, dude. We'd be in a time where fucking death is imminent, but we'd still be fighting each other. That's some sad poetry right there. After having Grandpa and Molly dispose of the raiders, we looted them for everything they had and took the remaining raider who was still alive, Callie, in as a prisoner. After we took out the ghouls in the ponds, I finally responded to my viewers about them betting on when I die. Bro, what are all these things you guys are talking about? The Revenant, Shamblers, the Goofy Goobers, what are you guys talking about? Revenants are low-key fun to hunt? You guys are just sitting here like, just wait till he encounters the hash-slinging slasher. That's one of my favorites is the hash-slinging slasher. And the lights flicker on and off and on and off. Bro, if anyone doesn't get that reference, you're too young. Get out of here. Not long after the slander, the events really started to ramp up. A tribesman raided my village. They were strong and a pretty decent colonist. I did think about keeping them, but Grandpa Moses was hungry, and we've got a tree to feed. So I decided to feed both of my entities instead of keeping him. Then a random man affiliated with no faction crash landed into my colony. Normally with all these people we're getting, I would have turned them into slaves, but sadly without the ideology DLC enabled, that's not possible. So of course, we just fed them to the tree. And by this point, I realized how long it would take to convert a colonist with 14 resistance to my team when my scientist had almost no social skill. So yeah, I'm sure you can guess what happened to him. After disposing of literally every human who dared to enter my territory, we received a far more abhorrent threat. A small party of shamblers wandered their grotesque bodies into our colony. Although the threat was high, these creatures needed to be studied. The anomaly yearned to be uncovered even more, and the shamblers would help do that very thing. They had intense melee combat skills, but by having Moses lead them into the deep waters, my colonists mowed them down while they trudged their sunken bones through the dirt. Sadly, we killed the beasts before they could be studied, but at least our tree and Grandpa could feed on their corpses. But soon, after we had persevered over that devastating raid, I had faced a threat that no sane man should ever face. An insult to my Rimworld base design. Why is everyone always shitting on my base, bro? What does Asmongold base mean? My base looks completely fine. Like, what type of bases do you motherfuckers make, dude? Everyone's always shitting on my base, saying how it looks bad and shit. This looks fine, dude. I'm sorry I'm not a fucking... I didn't go to school for architecture, dude. Or I didn't go to school to become a... What do you call them, bitches? Archaeologists? Whatever. A landscaper. I didn't go to school for landscaping, chat. I was always the guy... I don't know if you played Minecraft, but I was always the guy in Minecraft who would I just build a square fucking house. My friends love to build these like elaborate structures they look fucking amazing, dude. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? My friends would build the fucking Taj Mahal in Minecraft, dude. Like, fuck that, dude. Get me a square base. I need a fucking bed in the corner. Build the top. Get a little roof house on there. That's all you fucking need, dude. You don't need to build the Taj Mahal and the fucking the Twin Towers before they got knocked down. Like, you don't need to do all that, dude. Just have a chill base. And then motherfuckers be like, why aren't your base look good? My squares are effective, chat. The dark, ominous insults from the Reddit users seemed to hurt my colonists to their very core, because not long after, several of them came down with a horrible case of the flu. As our hunters were now out of commission, Grandpa Moses grew hungry once more, and so began his schizophrenic ramblings of the olden days. I don't want to get shanked by some junkie in the neck. Bro, that's the experience, bro. That's how you know you're really living. You're really living when a homeless man from Los Angeles comes up to you, he asks you for a pack of cigarettes and then shanks you in the neck. But I'm gonna tell you a story. This is a real life story that actually happened to me recently. For context, I live in California, so already imagine the homeless people are like the Walking Dead, bro. They're scratching at the walls. They're trying to hop over the gates and eat you. Like, that's how bad it is. But I was walking down the street and I was headed to this I was headed to this deli, right? And as I was headed to this deli, I saw this homeless man and I was drinking some orange juice, and he said to me, he was like, hey man, like, orange juice is the best thing to get you to another day. And I'm thinking like, fuck, like, trying to get some orange juice out of me. And I was just like, yeah, it is, brother, have a great day. And he's like, you too. And like, just as I almost escaped homeless interaction, I was like, hell yeah, like, we did it. I said hi to a homeless man, I was nice to him, game over, we're done. And then just as I get ready to turn the corner, dude, he says to me, he says, hey, like, you know, if you're going to this deli down the street, I would really appreciate it if you could get me a pack of cigarettes. They're only $6. So I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I felt really, really bad because I was actually going to the deli that he randomly mentioned. And I don't know how the fuck he knew I was going to that deli, but it was like 3 blocks away. So it's not like this was just by chance he knew. As I'm in line, like, ordering my food, I felt really, really bad. So I'm like, fuck, okay, like, I'm not gonna get this guy some cigarettes. That's a really nice thing to do, but I would rather give you something you need to live, not just something that, like, something that's not gonna help. But I will get him some food. Brought like a bunch of Slim Jims. I think I bought like 6 Slim Jims. In California, that was like 50 bucks. So I walk back with a bag of Slim Jims and I hand it to him and I go, hey, like, I didn't get you the Slim Jims, but you know, like, I didn't get you the cigarettes, but I got you some Slim Jims. And you know what this motherfucker says to me? He looks at me and he goes, you got me Slim Jims? He's like, oh, hell nah, brother. I don't bite the leg of Diablo. I don't eat meat, I'm vegan. Bro, how the fuck are you a vegan homeless man? You just gotta eat what you eat to survive. How the fuck are you vegan? This was the worst part. I had a bag of Slim Jims that I just handed to him, right? He didn't even open the bag. He didn't even just say like, hey, like, you know, like I don't eat meat, but I'll keep it just in case I need it. Like, no, he just denied the bag, and then he looked disgusted at me because I ate meat. Can you believe this shit? I wish I was making this story up, but I got a fucking bag of Slim Jims still in my car to prove to you this story was real. Grandpa soon came back to his senses and found himself hovering over the bloodied carcass of a dead boar, devouring it for all the substance it had to offer. After finishing off its meat, he let out a mighty belch that pierced the sound barrier. As Grandpa had went on his ramblings earlier, some time had passed and our colony finally seemed to recover from the flu that was impeding their work. And it was as if the ghastly ghoul's grotesque gas was a war cry for all those who dared to oppose him. Because soon, a ghoul crash landed down to Earth's core in another crash pod. Was the sound the crash pod made as it hit the Earth's crust. After learning as much as we could about the ghoul, we made no luck in finding a cure to reverse Grandpa's ailment, but we were able to research the ability to provoke the void. Doing so would attract new void-related entities. By capturing them, we could increase our research speed. That way we could uncover the dark secrets of the mysterious monolith. We gathered Molly and Doc around the monolith and began provoking the void, begging for it to send us a threat our way, taunting the very depths of the Earth's hell to send its most powerful demons into our world. But in the middle of summoning powerful demons, we got attacked by a grizzly bear. After finishing off the grizzly bear, we proceeded with our ritual. But instead of the anomaly sending us a foe, it seemed that it had sent us a friend instead. A lone traveler who went by the name of Earl Raz had wandered into our village. Raz was a dark scholar, and he seemed to possess demonic abilities that only a Voidwalker could own. As I approached the strange man to ask his business here, he immediately demanded to join my colony. You know, there is something extremely suspicious about a dark Voidwoken man wandering into your colony and pleading to join you immediately, but if you haven't realized by now, I'm kind of a pushover. So I said fuck it and let Raz join the colony. Immediately as he joined, the first thing my viewers warned me of was to not allow him to cook food for our colony. So of course the first thing I did was make him a chef. Now that we have someone making us absolutely delectable meals, it was time to focus on more important things, like studying entities and feeding the tree. Speaking of feeding the tree, it seemed like our hard work had finally paid off. After hours of loading up the Harbinger trees, it seemed like these gnarled shafts had sprouted into full-grown morning wood. The blood fueled the Harbinger trees, and they were ready to be decapitated. After slicing down the tips of the trees, I was extremely surprised to find out that they yielded both twisted meat and bioferrite material. Bioferrite was an extremely powerful material for crafting anomaly-related devices and structures, so this would come in handy later. Once the trees were harvested, I now had several anomaly crafting materials, but not enough entities researched to produce anything. It was clear to me that Hell's demons needed to be provoked once more. So I relied on the strange man from earlier to summon the perfect entity for us, and he didn't disappoint. After gathering around the ritual site, we chanted the Void's name, begging, pleading for it to send us something worthy of learning more and more about the monolith. But the only thing that seemed to come out of that was getting Doc a bad case of malaria. Why is it every time I provoke the Void, something completely random and horrible happens to my colonists? Anyways, just as it seemed the Void was not going to answer our prayers, we were blessed with the Death Pal entity. The Death Pal is a horrible being responsible for bringing any unburied corpses back to the land of the living. But these corpses were now hostile, flesh-craving freaks who were looking to suck out your eyeballs and devour your guts. However, we had fed most of our dangerous creatures to the Harbinger trees. So the only hostile creatures we had to face was a bunch of undead hamsters. Grandpa the Rabbit Killer was now Grandpa the Guinea Pig Killer. After killing the guinea pigs again, one of them was left alive. Now, I'm not really sure how humane this is, but look, okay, we needed to study another entity, so don't judge. But yeah, we ended up grabbing the undead guinea pig by all fours and strapping it to a constraining device in order to study it for as long as possible.
You need to leave!
For anyone wondering, does this hurt the guinea pig? Normally the answer would be an astounding yes. However, these guinea pigs are shamblers, and shamblers experience 0% pain. So I can confidently say that no guinea pigs were hurt in the making of this video. After capturing both the guinea pig and our ghoul friend, it was clear that I needed a better containment room to stop my entities from breaking out. So I began construction on a new containment room inside of an underground bunker. After creating our new container for creatures, it was time to actually get some creatures to contain. Thankfully, Earl was the perfect person for this job, as he could literally spawn living flesh beasts from the dead. But after doing a routine inspection on Earl, I realized there was something he was keeping from me. He was experiencing organ decay. Within a matter of days, if we couldn't replace his kidneys and lungs in time, they would literally decay into nothing and Earl would die. As Earl was the best cook in town, I couldn't let this happen. So I devised a plan to use Earl's corpse ability on a bunch of nearby travelers. After they went down, I'd harvest their kidneys and organs, but it was my first time using this ability and yeah, it had some unexpected results. Alright, look, so these visitors here, I'm gonna try some shit. Alright, let's wait, what? I can't use this? Oh, I need a corpse already in order to do that? Can I just do something really stupid, like shoot this Megasloth? And then I guess if they kill the Megasloth, that's fine, because then I can just reanimate it, and then we gotta run like hell the second we shoot this thing. Okay, run like hell. So if they kill this, we'll transform it to a monster. Okay, now that it's dead, let's see if we can steal their shit. Watch this shit right here. Watch this shit, chat. Oh, fuck, what the shit is that? That is disgusting. A bulb freak? That is fucking gross. Run. Run. Run for your life. Oh my god, it's separating. What the shit is that? Stop it. Why are you not helping me? Please, Dennis. Dennis, help me. Oh my god, I just fucked my entire colony. Are you fucking kidding me right now? What the fuck? I didn't expect those things to be so large. And he can shape flesh again? What type of ability is that? Oh, Moses is dead? Yeah, we're fucked, dude. Okay. After killing half my colony in a test run with the Dark Mage's ability, it was clear that this power needed to be used with extreme caution. So the next time I tested this, it was on a much larger party. And this time, it went significantly better. The tribals absolutely destroyed the Megasloth, as I expected, but once they did, it was time to see if they could survive a corpse beast. After exploding the corpse of the Megasloth, several flesh beasts arose from the corpse. Surprisingly, the tribal men decimated the Anomaly horrors, so we didn't end up getting any organs, but this was still a huge benefit because now we have a ton of entities to study. After locking up plenty of our new entities, we began researching them in the underground containment room I had built. And after learning of all these entities, we were finally able to attune with the monolith. So I sent in Earl, one of my most trustworthy companions, and gave him the task of studying the ancient dark secrets of the mysterious monolith. Roz listened to the monolith. It churned and reacted to his very touch. And finally, it exploded with power. But it seemed like Earl had awoken a deep dark power stirring within the monolith. The ground trembled and the vegetation around it began to cower in fear. And within seconds, the terrain imploded, spawning disgusting flesh beasts out of it. Thankfully, Grandpa Moses rushed to the rescue and demolished most of the beast. But this gaping cavern would continue to squirt out entities until we penetrated its defenses. So, that's exactly what we did. I gathered Moses, Molly, Steinbach, and Doc and sent them to check out the cavern. As they dropped in, the smell of putrid, rotten flesh had filled their noses. The grim, dim cave was surrounded in walls and walls of flesh. Roz was too weak from his organ decay to join the expedition, and was now in a coma. But before he went under, he gave us much knowledge of his time as a flesh shaper. He stated the weakness of the flesh is the heart, Search for the heart of the pit and destroy it, he said. So, we started destroying everything in sight looking for the heart. We spent what felt like an eternity destroying flesh walls, running into disgusting, horrible beasts, but in the end, we finally reached the heart of the flesh dungeon. And there stood one of the most grotesque creatures I have ever seen, a dreadmeld. I panicked and immediately began shooting it, but as we did, more and more flesh beasts spawned as it screeched in pain. Ow! You hit me! Moses rushed in, acting as a guardian angel to the rest of the non-ghoulified scientists. We placed turrets to help shoot the dreadmeld, but this only made things worse. The beast spawned more and more creatures. After being weighed down, one of the turrets exploded. It acted as a boon in our favor as it eliminated all of the flesh beasts except for the dreadmeld. But in the process, the blast took out good old kind-hearted Grandpa Moses. With Moses gone, the scientists retreated. But before they could leave, they were overwhelmed by several more flesh beasts. First, Steinbach went down, then Doc, until Molly was the last one standing. But Molly wasn't going to let Grandpa Moses and the other scientists die for nothing. She went in guns blazing, blasting the dreadmeld in the head as many times as possible. The beast spawned more and more entities, but eventually it imploded, spawning a bulb freak in its place. But as the dreadmeld died, the cavern walls began to tremble, shaking the earth to its very core. The cavern was going to collapse, and Molly needed to get out of here before the rest of the beasts killed her, or she died in the blast. She ran for her life with the flesh beasts in pursuit, and eventually made it up the rope and out of the cavern. As she did, the pit collapsed in on itself, burying all of her beloved friends that she had now considered family. When she arose from the pit, apparently Roz had started a kitchen fire and couldn't put it out due to his coma. Roz was now dead. The base was gone, and all of their research had escaped out of the containment room. With everyone gone and Molly all alone, Molly swore an oath to never forget the events that happened today and dedicated her time to studying the monolith for the rest of her life. Hey, what's up guys? I hope you guys enjoyed my first time checking out Rimworld Anomaly on the channel. I had a ton of fun making this video and the sound effects and all the edits, so I really do appreciate you guys who made it this far, and I hope it made you laugh. I will say, to produce that burp earlier, I did chug a beer, so I felt pretty good about that. Anyways, if you made it this far, please like the video if you haven't already, and subscribe for more awesome storytelling and funny moments. I do content like this weekly, and I hope to see you in the next video. With that being said, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.